Hey everybody, welcome to Building Home. My name is Nick. Madison is currently inside, which is very unfortunate because it is a gorgeous spring day outside. And since it's spring, we have our garden on the mind, and we got some plants, some herbs specifically, that we wanted to have all year round. So we decided to make some DIY planter boxes, which we are going to show you how we got them together, the mishaps along the way, and how it all came together in the end, which, spoiler alert, it is gorgeous. So we're going to be making 3 different planter boxes. One is going to be a little larger. It's going to house our big rosemary bush. And then the other 2 are going to be slightly smaller. They're going to house our French tarragon and our lavender. These boxes are going to be entirely made out of cedar, which not only looks beautiful, but also is weatherproof and will last a long time. To make the box itself, we'll be using these 1x4 planks of cedar, and then for the legs, we'll be using these 2x1 pieces. Other than that, it's just gonna be pocket holes, screws, brad nails, and some wood glue. It was really important for us to make these boxes food safe because we will actually be using these herbs in food that we make at home. So we didn't want to use any materials or any glue that would leach into the soil and not be okay. Madison designed these really cool looking plank boxes. I really like the way this looks, and the cedar will look perfect with this. The only problem is that there are going to be a ton of cuts here. So the first thing I did was set up a stop block, which allowed me to repeat the cuts without needing to measure every single piece. I then set up a stop block for the legs as well, just to make sure everything was going to be perfect. Since there were 3 boxes and so many cuts, you know, sometimes it's just necessary to take a dance break. I like to lay out all my cuts to piece together the boxes to kind of get an idea of what these are going to look like. I don't want to have the same color or grain type running the entirety of any one side, so I lay them all out, make sure it all looks good together, and then I start assembling. Now that we have all of our pieces lined up and decided where they're going, we're going to start drilling our pocket holes. Pocket holes are great because most of the inside of this box will be covered up with dirt. Here's where I made my first mistake. I wasn't thinking about the fact that we are installing handles on these boxes, which means the top layer of pocket holes are going to be visible, which is not the greatest thing in the world. Here's the second mistake. I didn't flip over the actual bottom of the box so that the dirt and the water and everything that's going to be in that planter box isn't going to be resting in those pocket holes. Since it won't be seen, it has no effect whether or not it's flipped over and facing the ground. So for the second and third boxes, I actually made it a point to do that. I decided to tackle the largest planter box first, and the biggest struggle here was actually figuring out how to assemble it without getting my drill stuck or not being able to get the drill in the box itself. It took me a few tries to figure out, but I think I got there. After I had assembled that first box, thankfully Madison came outside just to check on how I was doing and noticed these 2 problems, one being the pocket holes going to be visible on that top layer and the bottom not being flipped over. Thankfully, she got to me before I started on the second and third boxes, where I was able to fix those problems. So for the second and third box, we're going to be making it smaller by taking one of the planks away, having it only be 3 layers, and then shortening the legs by 1 inch to make them almost as tall, but not quite there. I learned from the day before's previous mistakes and actually just started assembling each side together and then attaching them when they were all done. I was able to use this really cool strap clamp to keep everything perfectly safe and secure while I was drilling in each pocket hole. And as you notice, there are no pocket holes in that top layer. I will be attaching those with brad nails and food-safe glue. As I put the box together, it was really important to clamp down each of those sides so that nothing fell out of place as I was screwing in each layer. I brad nailed that top layer with no pocket holes to make sure that everything stayed together. There were a couple of hard to reach pocket holes, but I fashioned this ratchet slash drill bit thing together and was able to like get in there and hand crank everything. I mean, sometimes power tools work, sometimes they don't fit in the box that you're making. What can you do? You just have to roll with the punches and figure it out. After the box was assembled, I drilled some drainage holes down in the bottom. These drainage holes are really important because when it rains too much, the water will be able to seep out and not waterlog the plants. Then I sanded everything down nice and smooth to make sure that everything was level. During this step, it's very important for safety to wear that dust mask and goggles, even if it starts to fog up. Now that everything was sanded and wiped down clean, I ran a bead of glue down our legs and attached them to hide each of the seams in the boxes. I then clamped it down and brad nailed it for safe measure. While that glue was drying, I also filled in any gaps or nail holes with some wood filler to make sure everything looked pretty smooth and seamless. After everything dried, I drilled some holes in 2 sides of each box for our handles to go. To make the handles look equal, I made sure I made a key out of a paint stir stick so we could get exactly the same length of handle on each side. Then I sanded everything down one more time and we were pretty much ready to go. Next day we were ready to plant. So the last thing we had to do for these boxes was attach some jute handles. Madison came in and tied these things perfectly. It was really simple and easy, and now we have a beautiful box. Then comes the fun part. We got to bring these things out to our garden, throw some dirt and plants in them, and watch them grow. I absolutely love how these guys turned out. They look absolutely gorgeous, especially in our new and improved garden. The best part is that we're able to take them in and out of the house whenever we need to. If it freezes, we can bring them in, and when it gets warm out again, we can bring them back outside. We're able to have these plants year-round. I really hope this inspires you guys to, go out and grow something. You can make these planter boxes pretty easily, and they look really nice. They'll last a long time, and you'll get to grow something, which is honestly one of the most rewarding things in the world. The bonus is, now you got fresh herbs all year round. You can throw them in whatever you're making, and it's honestly really nice and super tasty. As always, guys, thanks again for watching. I know I had a blast building these, and I think Madison had a blast designing these. I hope you guys had fun watching this video and seeing how it all turned out. If you liked this video, please hit that like button at the bottom and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And you know what? Leave a comment down below. What would you plant in these planter boxes? Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye. I decided to tackle the biggest planter box first because it's the biggest and that would be easiest. They have like 12 letters. It's okay. I'll just wait. Along with 2 sides of the same length on each side. Does that make any sense? I don't know what that was. Like, comment, subscribe. Pa, 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 pa.